Alright guys, so lately we've checked out a few different pairs of earbuds that have fallen into a very inexpensive category. And so it's kind of got me thinking throughout all the earbuds that I've tested, what are some of the best ones that I've checked out that are under 30 bucks? And so that's what's led me to do this video today. Now this is just on earbuds that I've tested. Obviously there's a lot out there that I haven't gotten to. And if there's any that you recommend, definitely let me know in the comments section below. And also keep in mind, these are not full-on reviews of these products. The video would be extremely long if I did this. And another thing is, this is a list based off the pricing right now. So these earbuds could just be on sale at the moment, which is what's putting them into that category. But really the way Amazon works is if a product goes out of this price range, they usually just go back on sale in a week or so. So it's likely that you're going to be able to find them in this price range. So as of right now, every single one of these fall into that under $30 category. And let's just go ahead and jump into number 5. Now, number 5 on the list is the Skullcandy Dom. Now this pair normally retails for 25 bucks, but right now it's marked down to 19. And what's really interesting about this pair is so far, Skullcandy hasn't really been that impressive when it comes to earbuds. But this pair has a unique look. It's very small and compact. In fact, if you put it next to a key fob, which is what you would use to unlock your vehicle, it's pretty much the same size. In fact, this case also has a string attached to it where you can actually attach these to your keys. So they're pretty much a pair that you can just keep with you all the time. But on top of that, this pair does come in at IPX4, so if you do want to use these at the gym, you don't have to worry. If you do sweat, it's going to be fine against things like that. I do want to point out though, the battery life is definitely not impressive. I mean, on the earbuds themselves, you're only getting around 3.5 hours, where with the case, you're only going to get about 12 hours total. And I don't know if the battery life is that weak because of how small these are. So that just may be the trade-off with getting a pair that's this tiny. But some other things is this pair does use physical buttons, which I'm a huge fan of, and they do give you control over everything. So that is definitely a huge plus. But the main reason that I put these on the list is because of the sound. I was very surprised at the sound that I was getting out of a pair this small. I felt like it had plenty of bass impact, which again, is a huge plus if you're going to use these at the gym. You obviously want something that has a little bit more of a dynamic sound. Now this pair is a little bit on the warmer side, so it does lean more towards the bass, but I didn't feel like the mids suffered in any way because I was still able to hear vocalists with no issues, and I felt like the treble came through cleanly. It's just not as bright as some of the other pairs on the list. So, you know, being able to pick this pair up for 19 bucks and get a sound signature like this mixed with a pair that's this tiny is why I put these Skullcandy Doms in at number 5. And so now number 4 on the list is the Jabra Go Air Pop. Now this pair only retails for 19 bucks, so just its retail price alone already puts it into this category. And what makes this pair interesting is it's another one of those JLab pairs that has the built-in charging cable. I'm actually a fan of this because it keeps me from having to keep up with an extra charging cable. Now I do notice that a lot of people in the comments section aren't always a huge fan of this, but I do think it's really convenient. And on top of that, it is using Bluetooth 5.1. This pair does have a really solid connection. I didn't have any dropouts, and it does really well with movies, videos, and games. So if you're looking for an inexpensive pair to just use for all types of media, this is one of those pairs you might want to check out. And again, if you're looking for a pair to use at the gym, this is another pair that has that IPX4 rating. So if you do want to use them at the gym and you sweat, it's going to be fine. You can use them outdoors. If it starts to rain, you're going to be okay. And in a pair that's this inexpensive, it's nice to even have these just as a backup pair to your more expensive pair. But where these stand out amongst some of these others is it does have really impressive battery life. The earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 8 hours, where with the case, you're going to get around 32 hours total. And because this pair does not work with an app, it's really nice that JLab is giving you 3 different EQ settings built in to the earbud. So on top of being able to control everything with the touch controls, you're also able to switch it between these 3 different EQ settings. And so that's nice because if you don't like JLab's signature sound, which is the one that I recommend keeping it in, you have those other options without having to go into an app. But the reason that I like the signature sound is it's pretty much a fun sound signature. It's a typical U-shaped sound signature where the bass is pumped up quite a bit, but they also bumped up the treble where it has a really nice balance. I mean, the bass is definitely punchy, but the treble has that nice, bright, clean sound to it. And they kind of left the mids right there in the middle. Vocalists, I was always able to hear no matter what I was listening to. The vocalists are not pushed too forward where they sound too up front, but they're not sitting back too much where if you're listening to a genre that may be chaotic, where it just pushes them too far back. And so mixing this sound signature with having a case that just allows you to have your charging case on you all the time, getting impressive battery life with a pair that you can use at the gym, is definitely what puts the Jabra Go Air Pop in at number 4. Now, number 3 on the list is from a company we're not as familiar with as we are the first two, and that's the UGREEN Hytune X6. Now, this pair does normally retail for 49 bucks, although right now you can actually pick them up for only 29 bucks. And the interesting thing about this pair is not only does it have a pretty unique design, and that's important to me because I do test a lot of earbuds, so it's kind of nice to just see a pair that looks different than some of the other earbuds that I'm constantly seeing. But the huge thing that made these stand out is the sound signature that these have is very similar to a much more expensive earbud. Now, this pair is using 10mm diamond drivers, which is very similar to what Soundcore uses in their earbuds. And this pair sounds a lot like the Liberty 3 Pros. It has that really nice punchy bass. It has a nice, bright, almost harsh treble, and it has a nice, spacious, open sound, where a lot of these other earbuds in this list don't have as much space as this pair does, but I feel like having a sound signature that's close to the Liberty 3 Pros already alone makes these pretty special. And on top of that, it does have a gaming mode, which makes this pair great to use for all different types of media. I didn't have any kind of lag when it came to media. This pair is also rated at IPX5, so it's rated a little bit higher than the first two, so you can definitely use these in a bunch of different situations. And the battery life isn't as good as the Jabra Go Air Pops, but you are still getting 6 hours on the earbuds with around 26 hours using the case. And again, another thing that's very important to me is this pair does use touch controls and it does give you control over everything. But it still all goes back to the sound. Having a sound signature that matches the Liberty 3 Pros is very special, and that's definitely what put the UGREEN Hytune X6 in at number 3. Now, number 2 on the list is a pair that we just checked out last week. That pair is the Lava Beans, which already has an interesting name, but it definitely seemed like a pair that a lot of you guys were interested in. And that may just be because of the price, because these do come in retailing at 29 bucks, although right now on Amazon you can pick them up for 24. And I feel like in this price range, you're definitely getting a lot of bang for your buck. This pair comes in rated at IPX8, so it is completely waterproof, which on top of using at the gym or running or whatever, you could use it if you're just gonna be sitting in the pool. You don't actually have to worry if they do fall out of your ears, because they're gonna be fine if they do get submerged into water. And another thing that I thought was interesting about this pair is the case has a digital readout. It gives you an exact number of how much battery life is left on the case, and it also shows you battery meters to show you how much battery life is left on your earbuds. And again, you're either gonna love or hate this. I've seen it on other cheap earbuds, but I found it to be pretty convenient, so I actually ended up liking this feature. Now, when it comes to battery life, this pair definitely stands out amongst the rest because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 9 hours, where with the charging case, you're gonna get about 35 hours total. So that already puts it definitely at the top. But on top of that, it also has a fast charge feature. So if you do pick your earbuds up and they're dead, on a quick 10-minute charge, you can get 90 minutes of use. And this pair also uses touch controls, and it's another one of those pairs that I'm happy to say gives you control over everything. But all of those features wouldn't matter if the sound on these weren't any good. But luckily, the 10mm titanium drivers that they're using mixed with the balanced armature drivers really impressed me. I mean, having a dynamic driver handling the low end while allowing the balanced armature driver to handle the mids and highs makes it where you can enjoy the most out of each of these frequencies, because the bass has a really nice punch to it. Mids are pushed slightly forward, so vocalists always came through cleanly, and the treble had a nice bright detailed sound. And there is a little bit of space in the sound, so it does give you a slightly open sound. Mixing that with the fact that you're getting some very impressive features is definitely what made me put the Lava Beans in at number 2. So number 1 on the list has been one of those pairs that I've recommended to a lot of people since they've been released. I feel like it's one of those that sounds extremely good with all different genres. I feel like you're getting some very impressive features, and it's just from one of those companies that I've had no issues with while testing all of their different earbuds. And so my number 1 pick is the Earfun Mini. Now this pair normally retails for $39, but right now on Amazon you can pick these up for about $23. And for $23, you're getting a very small and compact pair. Obviously, they're called Mini. So if you are looking for a pair that you can stick in your pocket or your bag and not have it take up a lot of space, this is definitely one that checks that box. It does come in rated at IPX7, so this is another pair that you can just use wherever. It is waterproof, so if you do happen to drop it in the water, it's going to be okay. And this pair is one of those that has really solid microphones. So if you're somebody that likes to use your earbuds for phone calls, this is definitely the pair that has the best mics on the list. But this is not one of those pairs that has the best battery life, because on the earbuds themselves, you're only going to get about 5 hours, where with the charging case, you're gonna get about 24 hours total. And I know that this battery life is going to get most people through a day. In the 24 hours, most people aren't gonna need to charge their earbuds more than a week at a time. But if you do happen to pick your earbuds up and they are dead, this pair has a very impressive fast charge feature where a 10-minute charge will get you 2 hours of use. So that definitely comes in handy. But again, above all of those features, the most important thing when it comes to buying earbuds is the sound, and this pair does not disappoint. And it's kind of surprising because it only uses a 6mm dual composite titanium driver, but Sony only uses 6mm drivers in their earbuds, so maybe it's not that surprising. But the sound signature that these have is a very U-shaped sound signature. You're definitely not gonna lack when it comes to the low end. The low end has a more tighter punch than some of these other ones on the list. The mids I felt like sounded great, and I think that's what makes this pair stand out the most, because I felt like I got the most characteristics out of vocalists when it comes to the earphones. I felt like acoustic guitars sounded the best out of the earphones, and so it just again made it very easy to switch between different genres and not feel like it lacks when it comes to song. And moving over to the treble has a nice bright clean sound to it, and it has a really nice balance again when it comes to the bass. It's just a very fun earbud to listen to. There is some nice spaciousness in the sound, and mixing that with all of these other features and it coming from a company that I do feel like has been very consistent is why I put the Earfun Minis in at number 1. Now, one pair that I did want to kind of throw in as an honorable mention is the Soundpeats Mini. Now, this isn't a pair that I've actually covered on the channel because I have covered the Mini Pros. And again, this is a company that I have a lot of faith in whenever they release products. So the Soundpeats Mini is definitely one of those to check out. But guys, that wraps up my top 5 true wireless earbuds under $30. So if you do feel like I missed any, or if you do feel like there's any that I should check out, definitely let me know in the comments section below. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.